Okay, today we're going to be doing our last section, our last part of section 6-9, percents as decimals. Okay, so percents can be written as decimals and decimals can be written as percents. To write a percent as a decimal, you rewrite the percent as a fraction with a denominator of 100 because you are comparing that percent to 100. That, remember, percent means per 100. Then you're going to write the fraction as a decimal. Okay, so 56% is 56 over 100. That's my ratio. And then if I say this out loud, that means 56 hundredths. Now we know from 2 days ago when we wrote our fractions to decimals that you're using place value to write your answer. So 56 hundredths is the same thing as 0.56. Remember, the 6 is in the hundredths spot. So using place value, we know 56 hundredths. It's the same thing. Is there any difference between these two? No. Okay. One is the fraction version and one is the decimal version. So to convert your percent to a decimal, you're going to first write it as a fraction and then as your decimal using place value. When I write my decimal as a percent, it's similar. Okay, I can still use place value. This is 38 hundredths. Write it as a fraction. And then since it's compared to 100, my answer is 38. Now something to remember when you're writing a decimal as a percent, this number has to be 100. Remember, it has to be per 100. If it's not 100, you're going to have to change it to make it equal 100. Okay, so I get 38%. I have 1 and 45 hundredths, so I'm going to write that as a fraction as well, mixed number. Because I'm comparing a percent to 100, it has to be just a ratio. And we know ratios cannot be written as mixed numbers, so I'm going to change it to an improper fraction. That's very important. So 100 times 1 is 100, plus 45 is 145 100ths. And then once again, the number being compared to 100 is my percent. So 145%. Okay? So we're going to start off by writing each percent as a decimal. 27% is 27 over 100, because that's what percent means. And then this is 27 hundredths, so I know it's going to be 0.27. Once again, that 7 is in the hundredths spot. Okay, so that's my decimal. 136%. Now, no matter what, we know every percent is being compared to 100. So this is an improper fraction. We do not want our decimal to be an improper fraction. There's no such thing as 136 hundredths, so I can't put 0.136. Okay, so I'm going to change this to an improper fraction. 100 goes into 136 one time, with a remainder of 36. Now I'm not going to continue to simplify this because this is my place value. So I get 1 and 36 hundredths. You want it to be a 100 underneath, especially when you're comparing your percent, or changing your percent to a decimal. This needs to be a place value number, so a tenth, a hundredth, a thousandth. So I can then convert that to my decimal. So 1 and 36 hundredths is my answer. 4%. Now once again, 4% is still being 4 per 100. Okay, 4 hundredths, it means it's going to be 0.04 because that 4 has got to be in the hundredth spot. If I put 0.4 and we read it out loud, we know that's 4 tenths, and this needs to be 4 hundredths. Okay, so make sure you're saying it out loud. Like we said in that first slide, you need to say it out loud, make sure it represents the same thing. 4 hundredths, 4 hundredths. Now we're going to write each decimal as a percent. So if I say this out loud, that is 32 hundredths. So I'm going to put 32 over 100. I got lucky for this particular problem. And since 32 is being compared to 100, that's my percent. 32%. Make sure you're putting that percent sign. 32 is very different than 32%. Seeing how these are equivalent to one another, we know that 32% is not the same as 32. It's the same thing as 32 hundredths, which obviously is much smaller than 32. 2 and 91 hundredths. So once again, I have 2 and 91 hundredths. Okay, I can easily convert that to 2 and 90. Oops, I'm writing as a percent. Sorry, guys. Don't go back to decimal form. To convert this to your percent, you're going to have to change this into an improper fraction. So 100 times 2 is 200, plus your 91 is 291 hundredths. Okay, so this number that is being compared to 100 is my percent. So my answer is 291%. Okay, and our last one. All right, this is 6/10. So write as 6 over 10. Okay, to write it as a percent, remember this has to be out of 100. So that's your goal. So if it's not out of 100 to begin with, and not everyone tonight will be, you need to get it out of 100. So I'm going to multiply this by 10. Multiply this by 10. You get 60 hundredths. Since 60 is being compared to 100, we know that is our percent. Okay. I'm going to do an extra one. Thing to keep in mind is that if this is my decimal, this is 6 thousandths. Okay. Once again, in order to write it as a percent, it needs to be out of 100. So what can I do to 1,000 to get to 100? You divide by 10. Okay, so 1,000 divided by 10 is 10. 6 divided by 10 is 6/10. All right, so here my percent would be 0.6%. So your percents may come out as decimals, that's fine. Okay, what's important to know is that when you're converting, if I don't get a number that's out of 100, I need to get it to 100. We don't compare percents to 1,000. Okay, percent means per 100. So whatever I need to do to that denominator to get it out of 100, that's what I need to do to the numerator as well. Okay? As always, if you have questions, make sure you ask Mr. Kohling or I tomorrow during class. I'd be happy to review anything with you. And don't be afraid to watch the section again if you do not fully understand it. There's no problem with that. We appreciate when people do that. Okay? Thanks for watching.